could even like someone who's fresh from a very powerful conference. Do I look glowing enough for someone who was at a very powerful conference? Well, I was at Redefining the Norm conference over the... Okay, I'm back. Again, I forgot to switch my source of internet connection. And yeah, it had to remind me early on, yeah. I'm still at that place, so I'm still forgetting that part. And so, I was saying, I was at a very powerful conference in Lusaka over the weekend entitled Redefining the Norm. And the theme for this particular conference was breaking generational limitation. You know, in the church circles, we call it, breaking generational curses. Yes, yeah. Remember, I may believe that part of me stays with me, and so in all my encouraging, in all my sharing of my stories, I always want to actually tell someone that they have a maker, a creator. They are not their own, you know. For me, it's an encouragement that I really don't have to do this work on my own. I really don't have to struggle, you know, and think I have no help in this world. Because for my own life, like I've always testified, I've seen the love of God in my life. I've seen the kindness of God, how God has raised people for me who have just been immensely kind to me, so much that it's so overwhelming, you know. For me, it's really overwhelming like that. I have no words for the kindness I've been experiencing my whole life, I can say. Because if I want to backtrack and start to actually want to see where the kindness started, I don't have a specific point that I'll be like, at this point I experienced kindness. It's only that probably I wasn't as aware of what's happening around me like I am now. But then when I look back, I really see how I have experienced kindness from God through people. Yes. Yeah, I actually believe no one can just come out and be kind to you if it's not for God sending them your way, you know. And that has been my experience. That is my testimony. And I will always, in my story of telling of my journey of healing, I will never stop putting this part in, that I've experienced the kindness of God through the people it's caused for me to meet, you know. So, about the conference, that's where my title came from the Redefining the Norm conference day. Of course, Love, Faith, Passion talks about, going back to God's blueprint regards relationship, especially the primary one. You know, the one where you feel all the butterflies and the heart going kaboom, and you'll be like, this is the one who I'll be sharing the rest of my life with. But what I love about that space, I was talking to Princess Bobby this one day, how I feel like even as the singulates, we feel very comfortable in our singleness. we have a home in there, you know. When I am okay, let me talk about myself because I don't know about the rest. For myself, when I listen to the Paswanis, I really experience this. You know, they are all encompassing. Of course, their primary aim is to have people in, love relationships relate well. But then I love how they just go out to emphasize that if you don't address the things that are issues in your life as an individual, they will never be solved by someone coming into your life to cause for you to be a couple, you know. And if you think that someone is coming to complete you and you are some 50% of a total human being, then the issues that you are facing as an individual are bound to multiply, because the other person also is coming. Remember, they're coming also from a background probably with their own level of brokenness. So imagine two broken people that refuse to heal, and they decide, oh, their love is enough. Our love, all we need is each other. Yeah, yeah, we've been there. We are, those made to be eunuchs. That's what Jesus says in the Word of God. Like that, the word of no divorce is for those who were made for marriage. There are some who are born eunuchs and some were made to be eunuchs, probably by the circumstances they have been through. For now, I think I'm one of those who have been made. I think I stand to be corrected. They teach the Paswanis that you will need to heal of the perspectives, the mindsets that you have, picked along the way. It could be in your family, where you grew up, the family unit. It could be from circumstances that you went through. For people like myself, who've been through sexual trauma, who've been through abandonment as children, who've been through emotional abuse by very hurtful words from people around us. We've been through the works. We've attempted suicide even at a very young age. Grade 4 is not an age for someone to be thinking, how can I end my life? But I've been there, done that, So that's why I love to be in the space of the Paswanis like that. Now, the lesson that I took away that caused for my tears to fill up, well, when I listen to Pastor Gladys Paswani, that happens a lot. There's a day I remember, one of her lives, I think it should be 2 to 3 weeks ago, she came on and she was speaking of how she's praying for those people who feel they are so overwhelmed they cannot go on. And that ministered to me so much. I was even crying, praying and crying over a Facebook Live. I actually believe it's because she's gifted in the space of healing and wholeness, because since July 2017, when I started following her, I have had those experiences where there was a time, I remember, around the first days I was following her page, I quit on it. I just told myself I'm not going to follow this woman anymore, because more often than not, the things that she would speak, they would just cause for me to break down and cry like that. So this past Saturday was no exception. So that's why I felt to actually share this particular part of the conference. How our generation has normalized the abnormal, We actually put flowers to titles, I am this, I am that, and actually add it onto our primary identity. We are going somewhere with this, as you will see as we go along. I'm hoping to just stay not too long. Yeah, I always say that. Yeah, I always say that. So, when she was sharing how we as a generation, we decide to put fancy names to identities that came because of adverse circumstances we've been through, and we actually make it look pretty, we make it look so cool. I was shedding tears, you guys, because I know I actually have a live, I think a live with 3 on this page, where I was describing myself as the one word for that title is running away from me, but I know it's avoided, dismissive avoided. Yes, thank you very much. That attachment style is described as one who actually just minimizes the need for relationship, so much that they just avoid it altogether. And I don't want to lie, it has only been of recent years, probably the last 2 years, from 2021, 22, when I came into Dr. Nelly's Kangwa's space, my mentor. I think that's when I actually started to actually stop and look and notice for the first time in a very long time that I am very antisocial. You know, I actually believe I had, it's diminishing now. That's why I'm now using the past tense on this one. I had this air about me that just said, leave me alone, you know. And to be entirely honest, I've been so comfortable in that space. I actually got to a place of bragging about it, you know, like the way people find me hard to approach. I am so proud of myself. I actually used to love it a lot, and I'm still working on not loving it. Yeah, I'm still working on not loving it. The moment I am making progress, I'm getting there. Yeah, that's how I'll put it. I will not claim I haven't gone far, because from what I'm seeing of myself, I'm seeing as though I have made great strides on this journey of being more welcoming of people in my space. And so it's when she was teaching on that part of, you know, she gave an example of Gideon, how he had actually normalized the abnormal, you know, the word of God for me is a real, you know, it's really something for me. Why? Because there are things you would realize you've been reading them for years, but you didn't really notice the detail in what was being described there. And for me, the story of Gideon is one of those. Of course, by this conference, I now knew that Gideon was threshing wheat in a wine press. Wheat in the wine press. You are seeing that. You see, a wine press is for crushing, you know, the grapes to turn them into wine. But here was a man taking wheat and threshing it in a wine press. You see that abnormality. Yet for myself, I had been just, you know, reading past that for years. Yeah, I love to read my Bible like regularly like that. It's a regular practice for me. The year that I actually got to notice, I was like, oh, you know, like what I'm doing now, like it was a eureka moment. Like the wheat is for the threshing floor. The grapes are for the wine press. And yet here was the man who had used an abnormal method to get his desired result. And probably it was working, because if it had not, that means he would not have been doing that, you know. This is how, as our generation, this is how I got to further those Bible scholars. I used to be a Bible scholar. I actually have some paper written that shows I have been to Bible school and all, but I'm forgetting the word that we use there. Is it expository? Yeah. You know, that thing of taking Gideon's situation into our own and noticing how we have actually taken the abnormal and normalized it and given it pretty names, you know. So much that we have actually accepted that abnormal stuff is a normal thing for ourselves. What do I mean by this? I'm talking about like the example that I mentioned about calling yourself a dismissive avoidant. You know, you tell yourself, this is who I am. But then if we trace back, probably when you were young, when you were a baby, maybe we may not have memories of that time in our lives. But then you know, even when you look at the young children, that's what I've seen. I was with Winnie's baby on Friday when I arrived in Lusaka. You know, when I just reached my hands to just take him from his mother, his arms were wide open for me to just take him like that. You see how the innocent child will accept relationship with even a stranger, because probably in their wiring they have an understanding that this person is a stranger, but them taking me means we are starting a journey here. You know, that's a lesson I actually picked from her young son, you see. But then as we grow, that's when we start to isolate ourselves, you know. We start to put, like I was saying, the fancy names that say, I am antisocial, I am dismissive, avoidant, I am this, you know, those fancy titles. And then how she was putting it, she was saying, have you realized that these titles came because of something terrible that happened to you, a terrible experience that happened, and you failed to process that, and then now you have normalized the abnormal. You have started calling yourself with the additional name of the abnormal things that happened to you. And you know what? She actually used the example of there are people telling us, oh, I had an avoidant attachment style. I cried, you guys. I was sitting there and my eyes were full and I just let them flow. I just let the tears flow like that, and I was like, Lord, I repent. You know, I was at that time where I had to shift my perspective. I had to ask God, Lord, cause for me to accept that I need help on this aspect. I cannot continue to shut people out all because I believe I am unable to relate, and yet you created me a relational being. You know, if you've been near me or been in my space, you know, talking and what, I have been guilty of, you know, what's the word? I'm looking for a word. Of making isolation and being alone in your space look pretty. Because to be entirely honest, I have been that comfortable in my alone space. I have been so comfortable that even a knock on my door would irritate me. I'll be like, you know, the moment I would like go to attend to a knock, I would actually have so much irritation that it would show on my face, you know. Even the hi to the person who's at the door would show that person a message that say, get to your business of why you are here and go. I wouldn't even invite anyone into my room, you know, just to be like, getting into my house, like, you know, I'll just ask you all at the door, what's up, how can I help you? You tell me what you want and then they have shut my door. But I've so improved that these days I actually smile and have chit chat and allow you to come in and sit down and we talk about everything else, you know, anything else besides what you have come for. You see, I'm growing. I'm growing like that. But then at the same time, you know, when you've been in a space where you are so comfortable with the abnormal, like I was describing the story of Gideon, how you can actually end up being so used to doing things the abnormal way that you will think, you get to a place where you think this is a normal, you call it the new norm. You know, when something is just shifted from the original blueprint, we comfort ourselves with the phrases, this is the new norm. But who made it new? Was it not circumstances that have caused you so much pain? You can hardly talk about it without shedding tears. Why are you now making that thing a fancy thing, you know? Something to be proud of, something to actually show off as a badge of honor, quote unquote, because really when you're bragging of how you are able to chase people out of your life by just an attitude or a look on your face. That's not honor there, you see. But because we refuse to put in the work of healing, we decide to actually, make the tombstone of who we truly are so beautiful that we want people to be like, wow, this is a very beautiful granite stone that was used for this tombstone. But guess what? A tombstone is for dead things. Even a person, when they've died, they're now called a body. You know that, yeah? Yeah, we no longer say this is praise lying here. We say this is the body of praise. And so that means no matter how pretty the tombstone is, therein still lies a dead body, and that's not something we can admire, The same thing with the negative patterns we have picked up because of what we've been through, the most painful things we've been through. We cannot continue to make beautiful tombstones of our lives by holding on to, patterns that we know we were not born with, patterns we know are affecting how we relate negatively, and we choose to hold on to that all because we are refusing to put in the work. I've always said that the work of healing is very painful, But then, the gift of choosing the path of pain, which is a pain of healing, is that you get to have a fresher spring of water. That's your heart. From your heart will flow springs of fresh water. When you hold on to the pain, giving pretty names to who you have become because of what you have been through, you cause for the terrible smelling, the stagnant water that's actually harboring mosquitoes that are hatching their eggs in there. You see that picture? It's not a pretty one. That's why it actually the conference also, it renewed my resolve to continue showing up here and leaving as many videos and write-ups and whatnot. May the Lord help me. Someone pray for me. I need to start writing a book. I know I'm very good at writing. I express myself very well in writing, but hey, this girl is lazy. She is lazy like that. I think what causes for me to feel lazy is the thought of what will I put in as the introduction, what will I put as the first paragraph, how, that thought of putting things in order like that. I'm used to this disorder where I just show up and start rambling. This is the disorder that I enjoy more, just showing up here and talking, then just waving bye-bye and we are done. Now, but then, I'll get to it, I'm sure, because the way I even talked to the guy who taught me how to make, flyers, graphic designing. He also helps with transcribing and all that. So I was talking to him last week. I'm like, we need to start. And he's like, okay. Yeah, he never says anything besides that. But then after I do that, a lot of the times I just disappear. Weeks, months later, I come back again. I'm like, last one, what did we decide on us writing, But then, pray for me, somebody. Intercessors out there. This intercessor also needs intercession in this season. So I was saying, I got a fresh resolve to know that I need to just continue to show up here to encourage someone, to start on the journey of healing, deciding that the abnormal cannot be so pretty that you choose to hold on to it. I cannot continue shutting people out and say I'm dismissive, avoidant. So please, with the the fancy girly head shake. Leave me alone. Yeah. I need to decide, no, this is not a normal way of relating, and I need to do better, you know. This is what I need to start to do, and it takes intentionality. I have a testimony from that conference also that's really touched my heart. You know, when I show up here, most of the times it's just me talking and leaving stuff here, just like this. And then I'll be like, well, I have had days when, like I mentioned last weekend, that I think it's 2 weeks ago when I showed up after a very long time and I was confessing my sin of the temptation to just stop, you know. Yeah, I was tempted to be like, well, it doesn't really matter me showing up on Facebook. Why should I continue? But then today, there's a person who just came to my inbox and they were like, I have shown up here because, you know what, they were sitting next to me at the RTN conference. And you know, me being me, to be entirely honest, I just sat and I noticed, okay, there are these two ladies here, there are these people there. But after that, all my attention was on the stage, you know. I was busy doing sing-alongs, I was busy taking videos of me, I was busy enjoying Mom Gladys preaching, I was enjoying, you know, the Paswadis when they would show up, the short few moments they would show up on stage to say a thing or two. I was enjoying the... Thank you for the encouragement, my Guru Faith. I appreciate your consistency showing up here, you know. So I didn't even notice that. I didn't even greet, I'm sorry to say, I didn't even greet my neighbors in that conference. But one of them showed up in my inbox. I didn't even ask where they got my number because, you know, already that would sound like, why are you here, you know. I felt humbled when they were telling me I was sitting next to you in the conference, and I had actually been wanting to get in touch with you, but I was hesitating until you were sitting next to me in the conference, and I saw that you are the one who manages the Healing Hub page. You know what they said? They were like, to me, you sitting next to me in the conference was God telling me to connect with you. Imagine. I was like, Lord, this is why you are insisting I show up every day. To be entirely honest, this person has never commented on any of these live videos. They've never. But they were in my inbox saying they were even hesitating to contact me before the conference. And me sitting next to them in the conference was a confirmation that they were to get in touch for their own journey of healing, because they were saying they've just started, you know. So you see, when you walk in your space of purpose, for me, I'm grateful that I've always told myself showing up. I remember there's one of my very early videos when I was saying, me showing up here is for me to leave the encouragement for healing for someone, anyone, even if somebody were to appear, okay, for this page, I don't know, I'd ask my young sister to deactivate my Facebook in the event of my death. Yeah, she actually is, you know, that, what do you call, she's a backup something, I don't know what Facebook calls it. She has the details to get into my Facebook and deactivate it. But then I think I'll have to rethink that so that this page remains alive, even if praise is to no longer be on the face of this earth. Because the experience I had today, the testimony I'm sharing with you of this person who showed up in my inbox, is that your space of purpose is for someone, you know. It's never a waste of your time when you show up to be the encourager that you are. Especially for me, it's in the space of healing, because I wouldn't want for anyone to carry a weight that is as heavy as the one I carried. For me, I entirely believe it was the grace of God that has kept me alive up to now, because I have tried suicide at grade 4. That was the age, what, 9? That's very young for a person to actually think to want to end their lives. And God said no. You know, I have been through things that have caused worse pain. And I'm so grateful that you are so right, my Guru Faith. I can't call you Faith. I know this is Facebook and we're supposed to be calling each other by first name, but you are my Guru. Yeah, you could have been called for that one person. I'm so glad. You know, one thing I'm glad about for myself is that I never, for all the things I've been through, have been worse off than the abuse I went through when I was grade 2. That's how I'll put it. I will not give detail because I actually did mention that I may never be ready to share that part of my story, you know. Yeah, you are. Yes, you are. You are, Faith. My Guru to me. My Guru. So I was saying, for me, I always had that thing of, you know, having pain that would break my heart so much. I would feel like, Lord, I want to die. But what I'm grateful for is that since the trial I did at grade 4, that thought of trying suicide never came again. You know, because imagine if I was grade 4 and I was able to mix some household detergents to try to cause my death. Imagine how much more I would have been successful now, with the awareness of knowing actually there are particular chemicals that can just tear up your whole esophagus. By the time they reach your stomach, you are gone. Imagine if the suicidal thoughts remained. That means this testimony I'm sharing with you of somebody who came into my inbox today saying the Lord has ministered to them to connect. They would have no connection to make, because I wouldn't be here. They wouldn't even have known I ever existed. You see also the importance of resilience. I know I've moved away from refusing the negative, but I think it's actually one of the refusing of negative patterns of the things we've been through, because suicidal thoughts are also negative patterns. So these are some of the patterns I'm encouraging someone to refuse today. Because I'm saying, had I succeeded or maybe decided to continue trying suicide, that means this young person who came into my inbox would never have had an inbox to come to. You know? And so I'm actually so encouraged to continue showing up here, because I'm now so sure that I am not doing this in vain. Even for yourself, your pain has never been in vain. You know, it was for you to navigate it, to learn the lessons, to find ways to heal from it, and then share that with someone else so that they also find their pathway. You know, what I know about the healing journey is that it can never be, exactly the same for everyone. It's not everyone who meted Dr. Kadochi, who is actually a trained, professionally trained psychotherapist who offers services for free. It's not all of us who have that. But I'm so sure that when you decide to heal, like I said last week, when you decide to heal, God will put the tools that you need, the very rightful tools you need for your journey. And I assure you that journey that you start off healing, you will never be alone. The tools that you need, you will always find on your pathway. I'll always repeat this because I am convinced this is what happens for every one of us if we just decide to take the step. You know, that decision to start will cause for the resources that you need to come your way. You know, I've had people, on the Sunday also I had a conversation with my sister was hosting me, and it triggered me. I was crying, and I thought I had forgiven the person who hurt me in another manner altogether, you know. It became awkward in the car because we were driving into town to get me to the bus, and then we just started this conversation. It started randomly, you know. And then the next thing, I was feeling the pain come up. For me, that's a miracle, you know. Like I'm saying, the conference for me caused a healing shift. For me, that pain coming back into my, you know, consciousness, and me actually crying about that thing is a miracle in the fact that I've been good at suppressing my emotions. When I'm in pain, I'm quick to just do like, whatever. I just brush things aside as though it doesn't matter, and I move on. And to be entirely honest, I move on and function so well that you would never know I have brokenness that I've just put a lid on. And when I noticed that lid, you know, opening like that, for me that was a miracle. I'm like, Lord, you are allowing me to feel. Yeah, Praise's emotions were so dead that she would just, you know, put logic to everything. That's just so that she wouldn't feel. That's where I used to be. I used to suppress painful things so much that I think even the loving, I'm working hard to care, you know. I'm not bragging. Please don't. I smile and laugh a lot because, like I told you, I'm from a blessed conference. I am bubbling over on the inside right now. But then I am now working hard to actually be able to empathize with people. When I see someone in pain, I'm able to try and just understand what are they feeling. And I'm now even able to ask them, what do you need in this moment? Because I've been a person who'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry for what you've been through, but yeah, you know, put some logical statement to want to make it seem like it was bound to happen anyway. Imagine for someone who's not abnormal like me, they would feel like I'm being insensitive, and for sure, that would be what I would be doing. I would be showing the highest level of insensitivity, refusing to acknowledge someone's pain. But that has been the story of my life for a very long time. I would look for something logical to you know, downplay someone's pain, because that has been what I've been doing for myself. And that is changing because I have walked the walk of healing. I think I'm far enough now. I've actually journeyed quite well in this season, you know, because I was able to, it just came and I realized, oh my goodness, this person who hurt me, I thought, because me, I'm confrontational. No, not as in screaming at you, confrontational. No, I'll be angry and then bring myself to a very calm state, you know. And then when I come to confront you, I'll be just telling you, this what you did me wrong, with not even a tear in my eye. I remember I had a conversation with this person, may their soul rest in peace because they are no more. I will not share the detail of the story here, you know. But I remember after a few weeks after I watched a very life-altering situation had taken place in my life. It was my father's death. After we buried it, I just sat there with this person and I told them, I heard it was you who made the decision, this, that. I said I will not get into detail. And I actually told them, I want you to know that you did me wrong. And I'm hurt. But you know, when I was telling them I'm hurt, I wasn't crying. Like I'm doing now. Like I'm saying, I was able to remove emotion from my pain so much. But this last Sunday, I was able to actually cry about that incident. The tears I was supposed to cry when I was talking to this person are the tears I was able to cry on Sunday. You see, for me, that's a new level of healing that I experienced. You see, so it really does pay to start your healing journey. I saw my bundle has been eaten up to 60%. You know, Airtel, how it announces to you, you have depleted 60% of your... So I think I must end soon before it's actually eaten up to the full, yeah? So you see, my experience from this conference has helped me lay down another negative pattern of suppression of my painful emotions. You know, I've actually leveled up a bit. I took that as a plus for me. You know, a tick in school, they have that tick and a star and a very good. I was thinking about it in retrospect. I'm like, oh wow, I actually cried there. And I had my sister to just, you know, rub my back as a message that's saying I'm here for you, I'm comforting you. I was just able to just cry, and now I have some work to do now in that space, because I realized I need to really seek out those places, those people I haven't forgiven, and actively bring them back so that I address them to become a better praise. When I was with Mom on Friday, Mom Nelly Kangwa, she was saying, you have, you know, you have improved on your weight, you are glowing, you are looking great. You see, for me, it's the result of the work I've been putting in, especially on the healing aspect, because I want to tell you, I'm one person who eats a lot. Yes, I'm very slow in my eating, so probably that's why people think I eat a little food, but I eat a lot. I have an appetite like that. But for all my eating, I've never really gained weight. But then, yeah, my mom was noticing, yeah, my jaw is growing. Why? Because the weight of the things I have kept for too long, they are just falling off bit by bit, because I'm being intentional doing this healing journey. I'm being intentional, you know, looking again at the painful things I've been through. You see what I was talking about? I've been told I've just eaten up 90% of my data, so I really have to go now. I'm glad we've almost been an hour here. So yeah, the message for tonight, I know I ramble a lot, is for you to decide that whatever pretty name you're given to the negativity that comes from you because of trauma, decide you're no longer going to call yourself that, and instead choose to go back to the original you. The you that was able to just relate freely. I know it's now the you that has been hurt. We can never, you know, completely get ourselves back to who. I can tell you that for myself, I cannot truly come back to being the praise I was before being abused at 7, or experiencing, you know, the loss of a parent at 13, or the one who yeah, the list is endless, like I said. I can never really go back there, but I can decide to seek out, you know, the help I need to at least be a praise that's able to accommodate people in her life again, and actually be happy about it. Yeah, I did mention I'm improving greatly. I'm making progress, and I'm so sure by, I will not say December, because yeah, December will come and people will be asking me, how come you're still showing that you don't like me being here? Wow, I'm making progress. So this is what I'm asking of all of us tonight, that you don't have to remain with the negative aspects that came with what you have been through. Choose to backtrack on who you have become. That person who now has a negativity even towards the God. Someone who's been so held by unbelief. You know? Yes, progress, true faith. The name of the game is progress. Like, continue to take the steps. They may seem small, but I tell you, I want to promise you, this is one thing I can promise you, that when you are continuing to take those small steps, you will look back one day and see how far you have come. Like I'm telling you, for myself, I'm able to actually be welcoming of people in my space, like in my life. Like I was telling you, I now have a sister. I have sisters. Why I call sisters? Because we didn't just end it being, business-minded, ending at the business that brought us together. No. We now have a friendship that I can actually rely on like that. This sister of mine is now someone I can actually call when I'm feeling overwhelmed, when I'm feeling like this thing is going to weigh me down like eternally. I can call them and just lay it bare to her like that. That's the gift that healing has brought for me. And I actually trust that as I continue even to lay down this dismissive, avoidant title I had accepted as my own. I'm so sure even how I relate with people, how I connect with people, it will greatly improve also, And so, this is my story, how I was hooked right at my being negative, avoidant. And so, yeah, that's my encouragement for you also tonight. Yes, Airtel has told me I've eaten up all my bundle tonight. So that's a signal for me to check out. So thank you so much, my groupie, for showing up and for your consistency. I'm truly grateful. And for everyone else who's going to, watch this, those who need this message, may it encourage you to know that you can always overcome, whatever negative personality you're taken up. The key is intentionality, deciding I'm not going to be behaving in this manner and always give the reason that it's because I went through this and that. That's my encouragement for tonight. So choose healing, dare to heal, continue on the walk. It's painful, but I always say the pain of healing is way better than the pain of continuing to carry burdens that are not meant to be your own. Cheers.